Hey, what's up? I'm here with Eric and Alex of Foxy Shazam. Guys, what's going on?
Not much, man. How are you?
Good.
Hi.
Welcome back to Canada. How do you guys dig coming up to Canada? Do you guys have fun when you're up here?
I have a blast when we're here, but getting in is a hassle. But it's worth it because we love it here, and I like Toronto, and we're going to Vancouver too. So we're really excited about that stuff.
Yeah. How do you guys do in Montreal? Montreal is a party town, so I just imagine you guys would probably go over really well in Montreal.
Yeah, we played quite a bit in Montreal. Always loved it there.
Yeah, we played some small clubs, and it's always been great.
Yeah.
Kids are very ecstatic. So yeah.
Every time we play there, it's always a really, really little place, so it's always just kind of packed and full of people that are going, love music and stuff. So it's great.
How good does it feel to have the record out? How you guys feeling?
A little bit relieved and also, nervous.
It's an exciting time, because it's been out for like a little less than a week now, I think. But we've had it done for a long time, so we're just been sitting on it for a while, and anxious for everybody to hear it. So when it finally popped and everybody heard it, it's just a nice feeling.
What's it like, when you're playing to people and they're, because you guys have to play new stuff to the crowd all the time, right? So what's it like when you're in that moment where they haven't heard it yet and you're playing the song? Is that a weird one for you guys, or do you like that?
It can be weird, but I think if you do it right, you just got to make sure you're playing it convincingly and in a just really, it's all about just kind of like
the performance aspect of it. If you perform it like you're playing one that you've played, a bazillion times, it hopefully kind of bridges or masks that gap a little bit.
This is a performance-related question. You've probably been asked it a million times, but you ate cigarettes?
Yeah.
What the hell? Like, they're not bad enough for you already,
Yeah, yeah, I know. I don't actually smoke, and I think it's because I know how they taste, and it's gross. But
you're very smart.
Yeah, I just I do it for the attention. I just do it because it gets a good reaction. Everybody always goes, "Oh!"
Yeah.
And then people, ask me about it in interviews, and it's just fun. I think it's
literally all the crowd goes, "Oh!" at the same time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But I mean, you mentioned that, and you are the front guy in the band, and you have a really powerful voice, and so is that one way of connecting to the crowd? Maybe it's a silly way, but what are other ways you're able to, hit the person that's at the back of the club or whatever?
I think it's all about just. We're natural born performers. It's just in our blood, so it just comes natural to us on stage. I think performing the song is just as important as playing them. Like the show you're giving them is just as important as the music you're playing. So I think we try to really make sure we're on our game both ways, because I think that's the only way you're going to captivate everybody. And it's really important to figure out to adapt to the crowd you're in front of too. That's a big thing, because the different bands you play with bring different crowds, and you just got to learn how to make sure you're appealing to them, but still doing what you do, and that's a fine line, but we're pretty good at that. So
I mean, how much did you guys learn that from coming out on Ferret, which I was like, whoa, they were on Ferret, that's insane, and Warped Tour. Because you guys were also on Warped Tour, did you pick up stuff like that? Different. You're gonna have people from all different kinds of people watching the band.
Yeah, it's definitely. We're a band that's, I think, touring wise, historically we can go anywhere, because of our we're able to play in front of like a whole crowd. Like we did a whole tour with Courtney Love and stuff, and then
that's right.
We're also able to play in Warped Tour or the Darkness, or
We played with the Sounds before, so it doesn't matter. It's just it's a different challenge, really. But we love performing and playing live, and so it doesn't matter what's thrown at us. We usually try to attack it the same.
So Alex, you play horns, right?
Yes.
So how do you do it? Because you can eat cigarettes, but
How do I grab attention?
Yeah, I mean, do you just move around a lot, or are you blowing the horn harder? If that makes sense, I don't know. I don't know how to play an instrument.
No, yeah, I dance and move. I don't know. It's something that it's a subconscious part of my brain, or you kind of click off the front part, the cognitive part.
The switch.
Yeah, and then you kind of go into this back part of your brain where you're not even paying attention as much, really. But I've always been loose-limbed and ready to move.
Long,
and
slender legs. That you can...
My mommy gave me some nice legs, so Yeah, it's hard to explain. You know, it's a subconscious kind of thing you go into it. Yeah, meditative or sort of, I guess.
Do some stretches and then flip the old rock and roll switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Okay, so I got to ask about the album, and right away the first song on the album, "Welcome to the Church of Rock and Roll," has a line in it that when I heard it, I was just like, okay, I need to ask you guys about this, and I was trying to figure out how to ask it in a non-insulting way because it's kind of a hard question to ask. But you guys say in the song, you guys are like, pretty much like, music sucks, including us, and we're gonna, I guess, wipe our name clear of it. I'm paraphrasing at this point, but you know, what do you mean by that? Is that a commentary on the music industry?
Yeah, it's just kind of like the state of things. I think for us it was a little more personal based on what we were going through. But what the great thing about that line is, it is a truth. Like, I feel like, you know, we're in a very severe state right now musically. Everything is not, and that's just my personal opinion, you know. So it was just like the lyrics that we wrote. That whole song is just kind of about, like, just kind of like getting yourself on, you know, okay, I need to do this now. I need to do this right. Like, this is, right. You know, not that we've been doing it wrong. I love every record, but just for what we were feeling at that time.
It's basically that, you know, we felt that, like you said, music is in dire straits, and there needs to be a change, and we're not exempt from that. You know, we're going to change as well, you know. It's
like the most cocky song, but also the most self-deprecating song. It's like hilarious. Yeah. Which brings me to, you know, just having fun. You know, how important is having fun with the band? I just get the impression that it's, you know, is the idea of, you know, obviously your church is rock and roll, and I just wonder, you know, is there a theme in the album at all about, you know, just having fun, and that rock and roll is ultimately fun, unlike actual church?
Yeah, church is pretty boring. It's definitely like,
to be honest.
Yeah, it's I think it's more like, it's just kind of more, the church is something that traditionally that you know, think of when you just put you have a place that you go and you put your faith into something. So what we try to do is just make a record that you could, you know, kind of take yourself, put on the headphones and go and just celebrate the spirit of rock and roll and make it like something that you could put your faith into, you know, because it comes from our heart and it's real. So you can trust us when I say it's safe to put your faith into it.
When you come to a point, I'm sure everybody goes through this. You come to a point in your life where you need something to believe in, something bigger than yourself. And if you can't necessarily find that and what you're looking for, you create it and you make it. And that's just what we did, you know.
Well, I mean, it's just funny, too, because I was listening to Holy Touch, and at the end, like, I actually started laughing when you're doing the radio bit. Yeah. You know, what did you guys listen to on the radio? You know, do you remember when radio was actually kind of, you know, it did something? Yeah. You'd hear people play cool tunes.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, back in, like, when I was growing up, I don't know if it was just because I was a kid, so I was into, you know, I don't know what, I have a hard time distinguishing whether or not getting older, whether you change or whether radio changes. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't figure that out. Yeah. But if I have to say, you know, I loved when I heard Closer by 9 Inch Nails on the radio. That was a moment for me, like, in my life when I realized, like, and to me, that's like what our inspiration for I Like It was. Like, I want to get a song that is edgy and like that, you know, just has that power to really change what's going on and get it on the radio. So
do you guys remember, you know, the first time you heard it on the radio? You heard yourselves on the radio? Was that a trip or?
Yeah, I have a distinct memory because I used to love That Thing You Do back when I was a kid, and
Tom Hanks flick.
Yes, who I love, and but that scene where they're at their dad's you know, shop and they turn on all the radios and they're running down the street screaming and picking each other up, and that always stuck with me. So when I found out we were going to be on the radio and in rotation, I listened for a week trying to hear it and never heard it, just only heard other stuff.
Best thing ever, by the way, that you actually did that.
Yeah, and but when it did come on, I think I was in the middle of drinking coffee, driving down one morning, and I spit it up, and I was really excited, and just wanted to hear what it sounded like compared to everybody else. It's just it's a new experience. Yeah, this arm is fake now, not real, but it was totally worth it.
Nice. I have to ask about some of the influences in the band, and you know, I did some homework, and I know that people have often compare you to Freddie Mercury, and I guess, well, first question: are you sick of that comparison yet?
Yeah, I'm sick of it. But I try not to get too comparisons always suck for the artist.
Yeah.
Because obviously, but that's gonna happen. Just happens, and that's very flattering. I mean, he's a great, yeah. I mean, he's a very talented guy. I can tell you honestly, I don't have much influence from him myself growing up. But I can see where people, that's
Draw the line?
Yeah.
What about Queen themselves, just as a band, as let's say a epic rock band?
Oh yeah.
Would you cite them there in sort of that sense, maybe?
Absolutely. Yeah, they're a hugely. I mean, they are.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up on them too, but it's also one of those things where we grew up on so much, and each one of us individually. So they're definitely in there. They're in the list, but it's a very big list. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys like it seems to be that you guys like every single, I guess, decade. Would that be right? Maybe.
Yeah, I just like
Good music in all decades,
There's bad music.
Yeah, of
course.
Who are some of your favorites? I guess just maybe bands that when you first heard them, those are the bands that got you into music. I guess.
Yeah. Well, the first
Nails, I guess, was.
Yeah. I loved. That did something for me when I was a kid. And then when my first record I ever bought was Green Day Dookie.
Oh yeah, I read something about you guys are huge Green Day fans. Right?
Yeah, I love Green Day, and as far as a vocalist, my biggest influence is Van Morrison. He's my favorite vocalist of all time.
Getting Irish?
Yeah. So.
Alex? For me, I mean,
Less than Jake?
Well, actually, Real Big Fish is the kind of the one that, because I grew up classically trained, Miles Davis and Chuck Mangione were some big influences for me horn-wise. But then Real Big Fish kind of opened the door somehow for me to let me see that their horn was able to transform a little bit to rock and roll. I think they had that record, Why Do We Rock So Hard, or Why Do They Rock So Hard? And that was the record that kind of, it hit a switch in me, And there's tons of other bands like Tower Power and stuff like that, but that was the initial switch hitting, so.
I have to ask you guys about touring with the Darkness, and we've been talking a lot about rock and roll. Yeah. So I have to ask, what's it like being on tour with the Darkness, and do you have any crazy? This is a standard question, but do you have any crazy stories with these guys so far?
Well, we toured with them in England. This is almost kind of a continuance of the same tour because we got the same acts, but we've also been close with Justin for a while. He produced the new record, so we were able to kind of and we've just known each other forever. So it's always kind of we do have. I'm trying to think of a story off the top of my head, but it's just like this tour is definitely makes sense. I mean, it's just totally. Especially for what we're trying to, the whole new record and everything just really works, and we're really excited to be sharing the stage with him. I think it's really cool that we get to partner up for this type of thing.
So when you guys toured initially, and then I guess you kept in touch, and that's how he ended up producing the record?
Well, I met him through, we wrote a couple songs on Meatloaf's new record together, me and Justin.
Yes.
And I met him through that.
What was that like, by the way?
That was crazy. That was definitely an experience. But yeah, we met through that, and that was a while ago, and a couple years ago now.
Yeah.
And we've been 3 years ago, and we've been keeping in touch ever since, and great friends. And then he actually did the record because we'd always kind of talked about it and thought it'd be great because we really work well together on a musical level, all of us, And so yeah, we just did the record, and then at one of the last days of making the record, we found out they invited us to do the tour, so we got to celebrate with him there at his house,
over dinner. Yeah. He didn't even tell us.
Yeah.
So you guys bonded over your mutual love of Meatloaf. That's fantastic. I guess last question would be guilty pleasure. So a band that people might not think you like, but you like.
Oh gosh, I got a lot of those.
It just means you're a true music fan.
Yeah. Let's see.
I think oh man, I don't even know that's considered a guilty pleasure. The one right now that I fell into is this group called Awolnation. It used to be under the influence of Giants or whatever, but it's real dancey and not particularly usually my thing, but it has a lot of blues and soul influence, and it's I don't know.
A lot of people dig that record, man.
Yeah, I hide under my sheets at night and listen to it privately alone.
I think the most unexpected thing for me that I've always, for some reason, dug a lot is Hanson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually.
This interview's over.
Yeah. But no, I think they have a good. I think there's especially now. I heard a new song. It was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they can write a a pop song, right?
Yeah, and they were kids, you know. I think that's cool. There's something cool about that, you know. They don't know what they're doing when they got big, and there's something like cool about seeing someone develop over time, from a little kid to where they are now, being grown musicians and still playing. I just thought it was cool that they're a family, and you know, I have 2 kids at home too, so I guess they kind of have a soft spot for like family bands and stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, and I remember going to a Hanson show at Cincinnati, and like given that this was before I was like little, you know, we were just starting out, and I give him our record, and he signs it and gives it back to me.
Are you serious?
And I was like trying to give it to him to hear it, and he was like just looked at it and signed it.
That's awesome.
I always thought that was really funny.
Have you done that to anybody yet? No, you should totally do that.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great.
Guys, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, man.
Nice meeting
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Yeah.
Awesome.